I'm waiting to come in. All right. All right. It is 7:01. I'll call the meeting to order. And first item is the Pledge of Allegiance. So we'll stand to recite the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Thank you. All right, our first public comment portion. If anybody would like to comment or have anything to say, you can raise your hand or indicate, sorry, if you'd like to
There we
speak. I don't see anybody at this time.
Ed Blissick and Wendy
Oh.
Reinhardt.
Perfect. All right, well, Ed, we saw you first, so Ed Blissick, go ahead.
Hello, how's everyone doing? First of all, I had a question. I don't know if you can answer it right now, but are the public going to hear the candidates for the open position before it's voted on? Will they have a chance to comment on the candidates? And without hearing the list of candidates, I do want to share my support for Amanda Nimke Ballard. She's been doing a lot for the township, so I hope she gets this position if she's interested in it. And the last part of my comment is lots of things going on in social media, and I want the board to know, as a citizen here, I'm very supportive and appreciative of our planning commission. There's some stuff going on in some forums that are, quite frankly, lies about what goes on in the planning commission meetings, and also the zoning board of appeals, of which I'm a member. The zoning board of appeals I can speak directly to, that we have extremely rarely turned down any project. Almost every project we work with the applicants to modify their plans, to improve their property, and fit in with their neighbors in the residential area they live in. And part of that, those messages out there circulating indicate the planning commission is lopsided in their decision and inconsistent. And I've seen nothing but that. I mean, Sylvan Township is a agricultural and suburban community. The majority of the residents here don't want to become Sylvan Township. That's what we have, or Scioto Township, excuse me. That's what we have zoning for in the planning commission, to preserve the way of life we like, allow people to improve their property, but not do it in such a way that has a negative impact on all the neighbors in the community. Just because a resident or developer has a money-making idea to bring in businesses or industry, that's great if they can do that, but they shouldn't create a negative impact for their neighbors. And when I see the planning commission turn down or try to modify projects, it's always been in the best interest of the majority of citizens in this township. So with that, that's all I had to say. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Mr. Blissick. Dave or Wendy Reinhardt?
Yeah, hi, it's Dave again. Yeah, every week I think I'm going to fix that, and every week I'm still Wendy. So thanks to everybody who read that long email I sent out. That's what Ed's referring to, as if everybody couldn't figure that out. I do much better when I have time to write and put it in words. And one of the things I really want to make a point of is that anybody who wants to read this can contact a board member or go to Free Sylvan, and next month it should be in the board packet. I wasn't really prompt to get it in there. I come from a background of small business where I like to get things done. So, and I don't like bureaucracy. So keeping that in mind, like small government is probably the last place I should be. But I felt like I should give it a try and try and help out here. And the point of my email was to bring to attention not the fact that a law, excuse our dog, or ordinance should be enforced or not enforced, and whether or not the ordinance is just or unjust, and whether or not we're missing a ton of ordinances to bring Sylvan up to date. It is simply that from my observations, they're enforced with a lot of maybe more self-interest and very much a lack of concern for individual residents and the community at large. And I believe they're selectively enforced. My question is, do residents really feel supported by Sylvan Township and our boards? And do they feel that Sylvan is working with them rather than against them? There's a lot of big issues in Sylvan that need addressing. I think we know that some of them are going to be probably involve lawyers and a lot of money. But whether you agree or disagree with my observations, I think it's should concern everybody in this township that that our accounting firm, Woodhill, who specializes in small townships, is well compensated for it, chose after a little over a year to say, we really don't want to work with Sylvan Township or the Sewer Water Board anymore. It is pointless. That should worry each and every one of us, whether or not you agree with what I say or what I have observed and tried to help with. So thanks for reading it, people who took the time. I've got some really nice responses and given me a chance to explain things that weren't clear, but please read what I wrote rather than take my little rambling here, because I'm not as good speaking off the cuff. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reinhardt.
Patrick's hand is up.
Okay, Patrick?
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Actually, I'm one of the people who usually says the most on Free Sylvan, but I did not respond in writing yet to Dave's remarks. I'd like to give kind of a response now because it's become a subject of this public comment as well. I've generally noticed some of the same things that Dave mentioned in his remarks. I'd like to cite a couple of examples from Thursday's meeting itself. One of those was the discussion about sidewalks on both sides of the street for Chelsea Square. It illustrates what Dave was talking about planning commission members just saying, "Oh, I want more sidewalks," and that was almost a quote. And I felt like standing up and saying, "Well, are you planning on buying a house there? Why are you saying this?" Well, they said though that it was required by the land development standards. And I went back to the ordinances and read the ordinance for pedestrian ways and sidewalks. It says sidewalks may be required on both sides of a street or on one side of a street, or in very low density developments may be accepted entirely according to the discretion of the board based on recommendations of the planning commission. So actually, the land development standards, if they exist and say something else, do not have the force of an actual ordinance. I just read the actual ordinance, and it is at their discretion. And they, people should respond to what the developer was actually saying to explain why he wanted them on one side of the street. And the second point about this is that the board actually has the final say, according to the ordinance that I just read. So, how somebody has a discussion is setting the tone for how things are actually decided. I didn't think that whole discussion was even necessary. I don't think that the board or the planning commission should tell them to put sidewalks on both sides of the street. It's not mandatory. And of course, I reacted in the planning commission meeting to the discussion about Robin Hills Farm reconfiguring some of their indoor space, their customer area. Another example. Is it really that big of a deal, right? It just doesn't seem like it's a big deal. I saw St. Louis Center go through, and that was very well accepted, and that was very nice. I like St. Louis Center. But I started to think to myself, wow, they've got this big new development inside there. They've redeveloped the whole place. And Sylvan Township still bans private roads. How did they do that? I suppose it's not classified as a road or something, right? But it's the kind of double standard that Dave is talking about. Any other development that's coming in like St. Louis Center would be rejected. I know what Ed said, that usually they don't reject anything, they work with people. But it would either be rejected or put on the back burner for 4 years and never happen. That's what actually happened with it. So I'm saying my opinion about this. Obviously my opinion correlates a lot more with Dave's. Sorry if I exceeded my 3 minutes. Oh, and the flower farm, right? The flower farm. You got more than 4 people parking there, and now we have a site plan review. Maybe the ordinance does say that, but who is looking at the ordinances to see if the ordinances are actually just? That is important too. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Patrick.
Yep.
Is there anyone else
No,
for public comment? All right. Then we will move on to approval of the consent agenda, which contains the minutes, the bills, some correspondence that I will talk about at the end, maybe of the meeting, some board comments. Or actually, I'm going to pull 3 items of correspondence out of the consent agenda and mention them now. So I will make a motion that we accept the consent agenda and pull out correspondence for discussion.
I'll second.
Was that correct? Okay. Okay, and then we have approval of the agenda. Seems kind of strange. So the agenda containing the unfinished business and new business as presented.
Kurt moves to approve the consent agenda, I guess, is what it's
I
saying
think
here.
we're on to the regular agenda now, the unfinished and new business.
Yeah, I'm reading number 10.
Oh. Okay, well, we just approved the consent agenda and I pulled out the communication piece. That was what my motion was for, and I thought that you had supported that, Kurt, but maybe I wrote that down wrong.
Nope, I did.
I support.
Okay, all right. So, okay, so there isn't another approval on of the agenda. There sometimes is, so. Well, no one else has anything to add to the agenda? Under new business or anything? Okay. I'm gonna make a motion to approve the agenda as presented then. Just this is how we.
A second.
Okay, thanks, Kurt. All in favor, or I guess we'll have to do a roll call vote. Branham,
Yes,
Kurt,
Yes,
Sandy,
Yes,
all right, Kathy, yes. Motion approved. Okay, unfinished business. We have the update on allowing marijuana micro businesses.
okay. You guys have some more information in your packet that hopefully should help you understand this a little bit more and the money that can be made by the township from this. I just wanted you to get that in there, and then next month I may come back with a motion.
All right. Board, does anybody have any questions or anything right now? Comments, discussion on this?
thanks for bringing this up, Rod, and pursuing it.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it's certainly something we could ask the attorney about. I'm sure he knows what, the current, information or status quo is on what's going on too. So I think it's a worthwhile thing to reach out to the attorney about.
He taught the class at the MTA about it, so I think he probably
That's
knows
right. I
everything.
think they'll know. Perfect. That can be a tremendous help to us. All right, so no further action or discussion on that. We'll move on to the township accountant position. Kimberly Haynes is the accountant for us, and she started last week. She came in and is starting to get acclimated to what she needs to do. So we have a draft job description here that Susan put together. So she, the accountant position will be handling some of the invoices and transactions, the bank reconciliations, work with preparing for the audit, financial statements. I think we should include other duties as assigned, just because that's nice to have on there in case something comes up we haven't thought of. We can add it in.
That's probably a good idea. I'm sure there's something that we left off more than likely.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Does anybody have comments or additions, questions about approving the job description?
I'll move that we accept the job description as amended.
I'll second.
As amended. All right, Brandon. Sandy. Okay, roll call vote. Rod,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
Kathy, yes. Motion carries. I think we should also have another motion in order to have her be able to log into our bank accounts. I think we need to specifically name her as our Sylvan Township accountant.
We
And I
did.
believe in our last month's minutes, we just approved an accountant at $30 an hour, not to exceed $10 an hour. So I would like to make a motion to approve Kimberly Haynes as township accountant.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, Kurt, we probably need to circle with Decker Agency and make sure they understand.
The Decker Agency being the insurance company?
Yes.
Okay,
So if
Well,
you're gonna, if your accountant's have access to bank accounts and all that, then we want to make sure that we're
oh, right,
we're covered. And the Decker Agency may list treasurer, deputy treasurer, they may have certain positions that they're currently aware of. We should let them
Okay.
know that we're adding an accountant, and they won't have a problem with it, but we should just check that box. That's all I have. Thank you.
that's a
Kurt,
good idea, Kurt. And
She'll only
she-
have read access. That's
she'll
all
like-
she'll have. So if something needs to be changed, like Karen, she always got a hold of me and I took care of it. Just an FYI. She doesn't have full access.
Okay. It's still, I appreciate that. It's still a good idea, Kurt, and I support that. And also I want to mention that she is providing us with an insurance certificate from her Haynes Accounting business. So we will have that on file, but that's a good idea, Kurt. I'll make a note of that, and maybe Susan can just follow up with them and let them know. All right. Next on the agenda is a letter to the city of Chelsea. When David Brooks was supervisor, he started sort of a process of meeting with the city of Chelsea and had presented a letter for,
Kathy?
yeah.
We had a motion and a second. We went into additional discussion, but we never voted.
Oh, I'm sorry. We sure didn't. Okay, so the motion by Kennedy, supported by Branham, to approve Kimberly Haynes as township accountant. Thank you, Kurt. All right, we'll do roll call vote. Rod,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes?
thank you, Sandy,
Yes.
Kathy, yes, motion carried. So then I got carried away. Thank you, Kurt, for that reminder, keeping me on track. Okay, so revisiting the letter to the city of Chelsea, that they wanted to have something that Sylvan Township, what board members would want to say that we are looking forward to working on mutually beneficial regional concepts. And the letter is very brief. I redrafted it. It says, the Sylvan Township Board supports working with the city of Chelsea to explore mutually beneficial regional concepts, including water and sewer utilities. We offer our signatures on this letter in a show of good faith. So this is something that Dave talked about. I'm not sure if this is a discussion item and when board members want to come and show their support and sign it, or if this should be something that we should vote on.
I'm certainly in favor of it. I would hope our entire board would like to sign it. I would hope.
So if, so I think they wanted to have actual signatures from board
Mhm.
members. So what do we, like, have the letter at the township hall, and as, you know, as it's
Can come in.
works and come in and sign it? Sure.
All right, well, that sounds good. And then that's sort of, when nobody's being put on the spot, but we can come and put your signatures on that if that's something that you support. And then if you could maybe do that this week. Sandy, are you available? Would you be able to come? Just
Oh,
so
yeah.
we have a point at which I could say, okay, Friday, I've collected all the signatures, we will, and we can take it to Chelsea.
Sure, I can come by tomorrow.
Okay.
And I think some of us already reached out to John Hannafin via email too.
Yeah. Well, I think this will help. This will make him feel good if we're all here on this letter together. So that's what we want to do.
He was very positive in my response.
Okay, very good. Well, then I will leave this letter at the township hall on a clipboard right at Susan's desk, and whichever board members would like to support and sign, you can do so. Please do so by Friday.
Sure.
All right. So we're on to new business, investment policy.
Yeah, Karen had talked to me about this public trust advisors for Michigan class pool. And there's a lot of townships that use it. And so there we had a meeting with I can't remember the gentleman's name right off the top of my head. But if this passes, he's going to come out and go over some things and see if what we want to do. The interest rates have really dropped at the banks. So I'm looking to move some money anyways to either one of the other banks at a promotional rate or to this guy. And it's a safe money and doesn't violate MTA in any way. And Karen thinks very highly of him. She's worked with him for quite a few years. So I guess if, is there any questions?
I'm sorry, who is he again?
I can't remember the gentleman's name. It's Public Trust Advisors for Michigan Class Pool. It's a huge investment pool of money.
And so are municipalities involved in that?
Yes.
Can you, can you just send us some info about where we, so we can look them up, Google them?
Yeah, well, yeah, you got it right here in your packet, the Public Trust.
I didn't get the packet, so that's why I'm asking the question.
Gotcha. That's what it is. Public Trust Advisors for Michigan
Okay,
Class Pool.
I'll look in the packet.
Rod, I'm looking at the investment policy
Yes,
and I'm just wondering, where did you add that?
it is.
Is it part of authorized investment A, B, C, D, E, F, G through K? Or is it under the authorized financial institutions and dealers?
I think we grabbed the wrong one. Hold on. Oh, it's on page 3, authorized financial institutions and dealers. They
Public
were
trust
added to
advisor.
the other 3 banks.
Okay, great, thank you.
Mhm. Whoop.
It seems odd because all of the others are banks. I have to tell you, to see that name on there with the list, it kind of sets it off to me, and I think, who are these people? And so,
Karen bugged me for quite some time to talk to the gentleman before I agreed.
I wish, yeah, it would be nice if we had something also from Woodhill saying, yeah, this is, and I'm sure you're not gonna say something that's not, you're investing, so, but it would just be nice because it does seem so different and out of the ordinary.
Sure,
They're listed here with banks.
let's table it and I'll get that for you.
All right. Good.
All right, so this is it's not a hurry or anything. We could just table it and Sandy can do a little Googling and we can get
Yeah.
something from Woodhill and just be nice, then the residents would know.
Yep.
Okay,
It's just 1 more month, no big deal. I've put him off longer than that. A lot longer.
yeah. Well, and if they have anything, yeah, that would be, good from them, a letter or something about what they do. That'd be awesome. Okay. So, I've always had a question, do we need to make a motion when we're tabling something? And maybe I'm gonna need to go and do some Robert's rules classes.
I'll move the table it till next month. Investment policy, table the investment policy until next month.
Okay. I will support that. And we'll do a roll call vote. Rod,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes,
Sandy,
Yes.
all right, Kennedy, yes. Motion carried. Rico copy machine replacement.
Yeah, we're out of contract with our copy machine. And so it's gonna be costing us a ton of money, because we don't get supplies, which are really expensive with them guys. And we're having issues out of our copier too much lately. And so I contacted Rico and asked them what they had. So you've got a sheet in there, basically it's a spreadsheet without the lines that shows our current model, the lease payment, and then the savings, the cost per page of color, cost per page of black and white, which is cheaper than what we're paying now. And so with the 4,500, it's 45 pages per minute to go through. And the savings off the top is $52.71 a month for that one. And I didn't felt we needed anything better than that. Just my 2 cents worth. Any
So does
questions?
the contract include ink or paper or anything like that?
No paper. It includes all ink, toner, staples. There's another little catch that goes out for like spillage of ink. Once it gets full, you have to
Yeah.
replace that. It's included. Everything is included there, even repairs.
So for how long a period of time in that contract are
5
those
years.
things provided? Pardon
5
me?
years.
5 years?
Oh, yeah.
Well, okay.
That's what we did for the others.
And how old is the current Rico?
A little over 4 years.
Okay. So if you decide that the copier isn't doing what you wanted to, are you tied to that 5-year contract? Or
Yeah,
because-
they have to fix it, just like the one that we have now.
Right,
It's just they're being contacted more and more right now.
yeah. Yes, they are. Thank you.
Especially frustrating for Carol.
Yes.
So I guess I'd like to make a motion to replace our current Rico MPC 2504 copy machine with the Rico IM C4500 copy machine.
Kurt will second that.
All right, and there's no other costs that you know of, Rod, that are up front or anything? This will just be, is it with the same company? So it's still Rico, they'll just come in. So what about the one we have right now? Did they take that, or is that then
It's ours.
It is?
the
Yep.
one that we have now is ours?
Yeah. Once the contract is out, we paid for it. Just like our other one.
Mm-hmm.
So we probably need to look at getting rid of at least one of the copy machines.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure how we do that yet.
So our contract must have been less year, because I feel like we buy toner for the copier we have right now, so it must be out of, is that just when the contract ran out is when we needed to start buying ink and toner and stuff?
Yes, we haven't bought it. The last batch that we got in was still under contract.
Oh, okay, I see.
And that's when I called her is when we started having all the trouble that we're currently having with it and talked to her about it. And she said, yes, your contract is out.
Mm-hmm. I know you're right, and I know Carol's had a lot of trouble with especially the large size prints and
Yes.
things like that, so. All right, so we have a motion by Branham, supported by Kosick, to replace the copy machine. So any more discussion? All right, roll call vote. Rod,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
Kennedy, yes. Motion carries. All right. Washtenaw County broadband resolution.
Yes, I was asked to bring this to the board. It's a resolution that Washtenaw County wants every township to sign that shows the support to using the CARES Act money. They're going to put it into fiber, and they want support from townships that we want that in our townships. So they're the ones that supplied the resolution of support. And right now, that's all they're asking for is just our support.
All right, since it's a resolution, I think I'll read it. It's not too long, so there's the preamble at the board meeting on this date, present, absent, who offered the resolution. Whereas access to high-speed broadband service is critical to the township's mission of supporting the health, safety, well-being, quality of life, and productivity of all residents, educational pursuits, not-for-profits, medical services, and businesses throughout the township. Whereas access to high-speed broadband for many residents and businesses in the township is unavailable or prohibitively expensive. And whereas since March of 2020, the coronavirus pandemic has proven the absolute necessity of digital connectivity, and whereas the Washtenaw County Broadband Task Force has taken measures to achieve countywide high-speed broadband coverage through grants. Through grant opportunities, nearly 66% of the rural county will be digitally connected to high-speed internet through the Rural Digital Opportunity Fund, RDOF program. And whereas approximately 3,700 homes countywide will be underserved by the RDOF, a challenge the Broadband Task Force is addressing through the exploration of additional grants and public-private partnership opportunities. And whereas President Biden's America Rescue Plan stimulus funding specifically identifies construction of high-speed broadband infrastructure as an encouraged use of the funds, whereas allocation of ARP funds to incentivize a public-private partnership could close the digital divide that exists in Washtenaw County and bring high-speed access to 100% of county residents, regardless of their address, making Washtenaw the first county in the state of Michigan to do so. Now therefore be it resolved that the Sylvan Township Board of Trustees encourages the Washtenaw County Board of Commissioners to allocate ARP funding to a high-speed broadband public-private partnership that serves to connect every home and business in Washtenaw County, thus achieving true high-speed broadband equity and is conducive to the development and implementation of a robust, affordable, sustainable, high-speed broadband service for Sylvan Township. Be it further resolved, Sylvan Township continues to support the efforts of the Washtenaw County Broadband Task Force in its mission to bring affordable, high-speed broadband to Sylvan Township.
And they are bound and determined to be the first county in the state to do this. That is their mission.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty good.
That's outstanding.
So I would like to make a motion to support Resolution 2109, advocating affordable countywide broadband access for the Washtenaw County Broadband Initiative.
Kurt will second.
All right. Any discussion? All right. Roll call vote. Rod,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
Kathy, yes. Motion carries. That's excellent. I'm so proud to think that we could be the first county in the state of Michigan to have everyone connected. I know it will take a long time.
That
but
is exciting.
All right, next on a new business is appointment to the clerk vacancy. I was sworn in Wednesday of last week as supervisor. I waited as long as I could because the clerk's office pays the bills and the invoices. And once the clerk goes, the deputy goes with the clerk. So there would have been no one there. So we waited, kind of having my foot in both offices right now. So with my taking of the oath of office for supervisor, the vacancy for clerk has been created. And we have 45 days to fill that vacancy. I know that my deputy, Amanda, has expressed her interest to the board in a letter that she had, and she was ran for trustee in November, and I know went around and met a lot of folks. So right now we have this vacancy, and Amanda Nimke Ballard has come forward as a candidate. So
I think it's important to note she's the only one that has come forward in the past month.
Wow.
Only one.
mhm.
Well, then Kurt will move to appoint Amanda Nimke Ballard as clerk for Sylvan Township.
Second.
Kurt, Sandy. Okay. Is any discussion? All right. Let's do a roll call vote. Rod,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
Kathy, yes. All right, motion carries. So congratulations, Amanda. I think you're at the meeting here tonight.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, I think, and I will get better at this. I'm not sure, so I pulled out the communication. I'm gonna do it real quick at the end of this, at end of new business. Just a couple items. Consumers Energy reached out to Kurt and I and said that they are going to be, as part of their work on the Chelsea School City Gate retirement at 745 Hayes Road, we will be purging gas from the natural gas pipeline on June 3rd. So that will be Thursday. The purge will happen between the hours of 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Those in the area will hear a loud sound similar to a jet engine and will smell rotten eggs. That sounds pleasant. This is all part of their gas blowdown. There is no safety concern. We're gonna post this on their website. They've let CAFA know in case they have questions. Wanted to let everybody know, anyone who's in the vicinity of this Hayes Road address, Thursday from 10 to 2, they'll be purging the lines and you will hear and smell that. One other item I wanted to mention is CAFA has put out new, like a new burn ordinance and new burn permit procedures. And so we put this, I asked Susan to put this on our website. I don't think it's changing a whole lot for Sylvan, but they have a new open burning and recreational fire ordinance. And then we have kind of a synopsis here that's on the front door of the township and on the website. I'm sure the Chelsea Area Fire Authority has that information too. Then lastly, I just wanted to mention that Carol's permit tech, so Rafiq Udine, who works with Carol, submitted his resignation. He's going to be moving to Pittsburgh at the end of the summer. So he is saying, I think it was the end of July. July will be his last month in Sylvan. So we will miss him. He's been a great asset to the office, just a great guy, great sense of humor. Everyone likes him. So we will miss him, but we are encouraging him, young man, to go and do fun things. So we will miss him. I think we're going to kind of wait and see what our needs are, work with Carol to make sure that we can complement her office in the best way possible. So I'm not sure we're going to fill that right away. So those were the little communications things I wanted to mention. That brings us to public comment.
Patrick's up. Dave Reinhardt is up.
Oh, okay. Hi, Dave.
Oh, okay, I'm up first. Real quick things. One, I want to thank Rod, Patrick, and there's a bunch of other people involved way before there was any money for broadband from the federal government, pursuing this to get everybody equal access. It's so important. It's so incredible, and they put out a lot of work. So thank you. Speaking of thank yous, can't not mention Kathy Skull for being a example and role model of how government can work, following the rules, the laws, and yet keeping the best interests and always siding with the resident whenever possible. Amanda, congratulations on your appointment. You've been involved. You ran a great campaign. Congratulations. I'm very happy for you. You've worked for this. And lastly, and Rod, thanks for sending out the email about the burn permit, because we burn a couple times a year and it's really nice not to have a fire truck show up. So thank you. And lastly, that the information from Consumers Power about the gas burn off, that's really well placed, and you don't have to be in the vicinity to hear it. Wendy and I spent half an hour running around about a year ago trying to figure out where the airplane crashed, and it really didn't crash. So no news here. That's it. Have a good night, all.
All right. Wow. That's good to know. I may hear that from my house. I'm not too far as the crow flies from Hayes Road. So
Thanks, Dave, for your
thanks for
kind
the
words.
heads up.
Patrick's up.
Patrick?
Hey, I guess I'll start off by kind of expanding upon what Dave said and thanking members of the Sylvan Township Broadband Research Committee for helping bring us to this point, even though it is a county initiative at this point. In addition to Rod and myself, most notably Amanda Nimke Ballard, our new clerk, she has been the broadband task force liaison person. So all this information from the county and all the great things they're doing has been coming through her very faithfully, once a week or once a month or however we met. And the rest of the community members, committee members as well, Karen Willems, David Brooks, Chris Sharver. Last two have resigned from the committee, but they did a lot. and Joe Manley, Rachel Miller, and John Brooks, no relation to David. I think I got everybody. So I just wanted to be complete about that. But what I actually wanted to say when I raised my hand, though, is I was thinking back to the public comments at the beginning of this meeting. And I actually would like to support one thing that I think I heard Ed Blissick say, that in a way that all of the decisions that are made and the discussions that are had by some of the various bodies of Sylvan Township, such as the Planning Commission and the Zoning Board of Appeals, ought to be made in the best interest of protecting the residents of the township. Sometimes, I will make a comment that I feel that it's not really necessarily being done with that in mind. But I'd like to encourage everybody to always keep that in mind. As a planning commission meeting progresses, the people on the planning commission or any other board or committee should be continually asking themselves, is this helping serve and protect the residents? I actually spoke in public comment at a board meeting about two years ago when I can't remember what was being debated. I can't remember now, but at the end I said, have we lost sight of that somehow? Sometimes I hear things being debated about, well, the ordinance says this or says that or says the other thing, and we have to follow this. And we do have to follow the law, but we should always be questioning, is this law really working to protect the legitimate interests of our residents? And sometimes we may find that it's a little bit out of whack. And the township board in particular has this kind of dual role, right? You have to kind of enforce the ordinances, but you also have a policy making role. So when something is out of whack, that raises a little flag. It should raise a little flag saying, oh, how can we improve this, right? How can we improve it so it stays in line with actually protecting the residents or serving the residents? And you heard the whereases on the broadband resolution. A lot of them were about how broadband is really necessary for the residents. So that's completely in line with this, right? We're doing this because, and you can feel it. You're like, oh yeah, we're doing this to actually help people. Great, right? So that's how I would approach things. It's sometimes it's hard to do, but thank you.
All right, are there any other members of the public?
Karen is up.
Karen Willems. Hi, Karen.
Hi, I'd like to piggyback on Patrick, and in addition to thinking about the needs and wants of residents, to try and think about not all residents are just like me. We've got a variety of people in the township, and to not just think about a certain type of person who's been here a long time and anyway, but beyond that, we have to think about more than just the people who are here in this one moment. Because I mean, when I moved here 29 years ago, I still remember with such fear and anxiety our experience in front of the Planning Commission at that time to get a permission for a shared driveway, which made it affordable for us to live here, because we live way back off the road. And if we couldn't split the parcels and share a driveway, we would have just had to sell the land and move on. It would have been unaffordable for us. And I think that you can't just think about, well, I got in, now I'm going to stop everybody else from getting in. And part of the reason why some people can't move to Sylvan Township is because of affordability and the possibility of having smaller lot sizes, smaller smaller house sizes to, I mean, to have, you know, a minimum size. Obviously, we don't want to have, you know, like a suburban neighborhood like some of the platted areas are. I mean, you can have some of those near town, but to just think flexibly to make it possible for young people, for seniors, for people who have not been able to enjoy the beauty of Sylvan Township, to be able to live here and not hurt the neighbors, you know, just because these people are not like me is, you know, their house is not going to look exactly like mine. It's not necessarily an injury. And we need to open our minds and our hearts to other people and include them in the opportunity of living in beautiful Sylvan Township. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Any other public comment? A board member comments? Yes, Sandy.
So I sent in some information through Free Sylvan to anybody who belongs to Free Sylvan, because I don't know of any other way to contact a large number of people who live in the township. And this is regarding legislation that is currently happening in the state. I was gone last week, so I don't know if anything has happened, but we need to contact our state senator and tell her that we do not want the state to tell us how to manage short-term rentals. There are people who have expressed concern about short-term rentals when we first started talking about it here. You started talking about it before I came on the board. If the state has comes up with something, it doesn't matter what you as a resident think, because the state will have said anybody can rent their house, whether it's on a non-conforming lot with 17 people sharing the same driveway. You will lose total control of how short-term rentals are handled. I am hoping that the people on the west side of the state, particularly in Holland, all of those communities along or have access to Lake Michigan, the city of Ann Arbor, you know, was very disturbed by absentee landlords buying property and renting it on a short-term rental base for football games and graduation and all that other horrible stuff. So if the state resolution passes, you'll lose control of that. Ann Arbor will lose control. So it is important for you to tell our state senator, whose name escapes me at the moment, but you can find it pretty easily. Send her an email, tell her you don't want that to happen. That's it.
Lana Thays or I forget, I don't know how to
Tice.
pronounce
Tice.
Yes, yes, yes. Good to know, Sandy. We always want to know when decisions are being made that will usurp local control.
Well,
So,
you know, if it weren't for the Michigan Township Association, I'm not sure any of us would even know this was happening. So thank goodness, you know, they're looking out to make sure that the state does not usurp control from local issues. Sometimes it's okay. This is not one. This is like a giant plate of worms. So please contact Lana Tice.
all right, any other board members? Comments from board members? Kurt, Brad,
I'm good, thank you.
you're all good. All right, then I guess we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll move to
I
adjourn.
move that we adjourn.
Kurt, so moved.
All three of us.
Second. We're out.
We need a second though from
Okay, I
somebody.
heard,
Second.
all right, a motion by Kurt, supported by Sandy to adjourn at 7:56. Roll call vote, Rod,
Yes.
Kurt,
Yes.
Sandy,
Yes.
Kathy? Yes. Motion carries. So we are adjourned.
Good night, everyone.
So long.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks.